All right, settle in. Tonight we're going somewhere dark. We're heading deep into the shadows of Ohio, where something is moving along the riverbanks, through those dense forests. And look, I know what you're thinking, but this is not the story you think it is. So just forget the blurry photos, forget all the old campfire tales about some shy, lumbering beast, because the reports coming out of the Ohio River corridor, they describe something different, something that seems intelligent, something that, and this is according to the people who've actually seen it, simply doesn't belong here. So yeah, let's get right into it.
This one sentence, it comes from a witness. And honestly, it's the key. It's what unlocks this whole mystery. It sounds so simple, right? A chillingly simple observation. But that's exactly what separates what's happening in Ohio from, decades of folklore. Just let that sink in for a second. It wasn't an animal, it wasn't a human, it was something so profoundly out of place that its very presence just felt wrong.
Okay, so this is where our investigation really kicks off. We're focusing on a very specific cluster of sightings, all happening along the Ohio River corridor. And I really want to be clear about this. Whatever you think you know about Bigfoot, just set it aside for now. The creature, or whatever it is that's being described here, it's different. And all these encounters, they're happening in a super concentrated area, all within a really short period of time. That's important.
So check this out. In just the last month, we've had 3 credible sightings that have put this whole region on high alert. First, you've got a canoeist near Marietta. They're just filming the riverbank, right? And they catch a glimpse of this tall, dark figure moving with, well, an unnatural speed. Then you have 2 hikers, this time over near Hocking Hills. They stumble upon something they said was, and I quote, too lean, too fast to be any animal they knew. It just left them frozen, filled with this cold dread. And finally, a hunter's trail camp, miles from any road, captures a silent, upright silhouette at 2:17 in the morning. So you have 3 separate events, but they form one really disturbing pattern. This isn't random, it's a hotspot.
And this is where things get really weird, where the descriptions just completely diverge from that classic Bigfoot profile. I mean, we're all used to hearing about a massive, heavily built creature, kind of like a gorilla, with that slow, shuffling walk. But the witnesses in Ohio, they're describing something totally different, something leaner, faster, and the way it moves. That's the part that really gets under your skin. It's not just walking. They describe it as tactical, intelligent, almost predatory.
Let's just pause and really drill down on this quote for a second. It moved like something that was watching us move. The psychological terror packed into that one statement is just profound. See, this isn't some shy animal you caught by surprise. This describes a creature with tactical awareness. It suggests it wasn't just passing through, it was observing them, learning from them, reacting to them. That is not an animal, that's an intelligence. And that, my friends, is deeply unsettling.
Eyewitness accounts are compelling, but they can always be chalked up to fear or mistaken identity. The story takes a sharp, and I mean undeniable turn when we get to the physical evidence. This is where we leave all the folklore behind and we step into the world of hard science. And, well, this is where the scientific establishment decided to fight back. Hard.
So, a few years back, a geneticist named Dr. Melba Ketchum spent 5 years studying over 100 alleged Bigfoot DNA samples. And her findings were absolutely explosive. She found that the mitochondrial DNA, that's the part you only get from your mother, was 100% modern human. But the nuclear DNA, which is the core blueprint from both parents, that was a bizarre mix. Part human and part something utterly unknown to science. The biological implication here is staggering. We're talking about a hybrid creature with a human mother and a father that is something else entirely.
The reaction from the scientific world was, to put it mildly, immediate and brutal. Ketchum's research was viciously attacked, her paper got rejected by every single major peer-reviewed journal, and the mainstream media basically painted her as a fringe pseudoscientist. The door wasn't just closed on her work, it was slammed shut, locked, and bolted, loudly and publicly.
And this just raises a huge question, doesn't it? I mean, if Ketchum's findings were so obviously flawed and just plain silly, why the massive, coordinated, aggressive campaign to discredit them? You don't work that hard to debunk something that's clearly nonsense. You just ignore it. That level of institutional pushback really makes you wonder, what nerve did she actually strike?
Which, of course, brings us right back to today. There's a new, independent team of researchers, and right now, they're testing samples from these recent Ohio sightings. Now, they haven't released their data yet, but this quote from a source close to the project tells you everything you need to know. He said, "We're being very careful about how we release this." They're not saying they found nothing. They're choosing their words very, very carefully because they know if they found something big, the scientific world will come for them. This battle over the DNA, it is far from over.
So let's recap. We've got these bizarre creature sightings and some highly controversial DNA evidence. That's strange enough on its own. But this story has one more layer to it, an even stranger one. And to really get it, we need to stop looking at the ground for a minute and start looking up at the sky, directly above these exact same Ohio forests. Because it turns out that the exact same regions where these creature sightings are happening are also documented hotspots for unidentified aerial phenomena, or UAPs. And let's be crystal clear here. We're not talking about some shaky, blurry lights in the sky. No, we're talking about documented events, backed up by FAA air traffic control logs, testimony from military pilots, and hard radar data. This stuff is official.
I mean, just look at this overlap. The Ohio River valleys, the Hocking Forest region. The exact same locations are lighting up as hotspots for both the creature sightings and the UAP activity. Come on, this can't be a coincidence. It's a direct geographic correlation that's frankly statistically impossible to just ignore. You've got two extraordinary, unexplained phenomena happening in the exact same place at the exact same time. The question isn't if they're connected, it's how.
And this stunning correlation has led some investigators down a path to a new, and honestly, a pretty terrifying theory. A theory that completely reframes this entire mystery. What if these creatures aren't some undiscovered primate? What if they're not a missing link? What if they're not from here at all?
This quote is from an investigator who spent decades in the field. He spoke to us on the condition of anonymity. Deployed. Just think about that word. That's not a biological word. It's mechanical. It's military. It implies a mission, a purpose. It suggests that these creatures are not a natural part of the ecosystem, that they are tools placed in this environment like scouts or biological drones by something else.
So, this is where we're at. When you take the intelligent, tactical movement, the impossible hybrid DNA, and that direct geographic overlap with documented UAP sightings, you are left with something that just breaks all the rules. It doesn't fit into biology. It doesn't fit into zoology. It's an anomaly that exists at the intersection of all these fields, and it completely defies any easy explanation.
Which leaves us with a really unsettling question. The events in Ohio are pushing the boundaries of what we even think is possible. So are we dealing with a known creature that's just acting in a new way? Or a completely unknown species hiding right under our noses? Or, when you consider all the evidence, the movement, the DNA, the UATs, are we dealing with something else entirely? Something that isn't from here at all? So I'll leave you with this. What do you believe is really moving through those dark Ohio woods?